synchronous communication, example for web services. So scenario is HTTP to RFC, sender side HTTP. So that is actually a business service. We'll be creating business component for that. We are sending a request from HTTP and getting back the response from SAB system. So that
Yes,
means,
Shashank.
yeah, Anirban.
Yeah, I'm not able to record the session.
I made you already organized, Anirban.
Yeah, but the button is not enabled.
So the scenario is HTTP to RFC, sender side HTTP, receiver side RFC. HTTP is not a physical system. We'll take a request from HTTP and we'll send a request from HTTP and getting back the response from SAB system. So we'll take here some BAPI function. So we'll see what BAPI function we are using here. You can take any BAPI function, custom defined BAPIs also can take. The ECC, go to SC37 to see the functions. So this is the function I'm taking here, BAPI underscore compare underscore get detail. So what is this function? SAP given function. And purpose of this function, when I give company ID, I'll be getting back the name, street, city, country, all the information as a response. So in the import parameter, what we pass is company ID. In export, I'll be getting, see, every function must return a value, return BAP return, and then company detail. Here you find name, country, state, city, currency, all this, street, all the information. Want you can run this also. When you run this, it lost the company ID. Output length of company ID is 6. So I'll give 5 zeros 1 and then execute. So I'll be getting as output like this. This is import parameter and we're getting export. The name, street, city, country, all these things. The same function we're using in this scenario is sending the request and getting back the response. Just a minute, I'll be back. Yeah, sorry for that. So this is HLE function. Import parameter is company ID. Export parameter name, street, city, country. So now I'm using this in my scenario. Scenario is HTTP to RFC. Sender side HTTP. Receiver side RFC. Nothing but SAP. product and software component. Then sender side, don't find anything in SLD. Sender side HTTP. We'll be creating business service in the integration directory, not in SLD. So it is not a physical system. HTTP is not a physical system. So receiver side, I'm taking SAP, the base app, install software. Product and software component. Then business system, SAP SRD. Then integration repository. Then we'll be creating. Okay, we need to import the RFC here. It takes some time because it has to load all the functions available from SAP. So BAP underscore company underscore get detail, continue, then finish. Then we'll take here data type request and response, not sender receiver. Whatever request you send is company ID, response will get back name, state, city, and country. So I'm taking request, insert sub element. The request will be company ID. Then data type response. The data type for response. So these things I want name, state, city, and country. Then I create message type, request and response. Message type request, data type request. Message type response. Data type response. Then when it comes to service interface, service interface actually we required only for sender. Receiver side. What is service interface? The actual interface of sender or actual interface of receiver. So for actual interface for sender is not available that we know. Actual interface for receiver is there. That is BAPI company get detail RFC function. So that will be the interface of the receiver. So we need to create a interface for sender. That too, that is synchronous interface. Need to get a response back. So I'll give the name say MI underscore HTTP sync 9. I'll give something like this. Sender side outbound, but mode is synchronous. When it is synchronous, then it will give request and response messages. Request is empty request, response is empty response. The request is what request you are sending, that is company ID, that is empty request. The response is what response you are getting back, that is name, street, city, country, that is empty underscore response. And then save. Then we need to create mapping objects. So under mapping objects, we required two mappings, request mapping and response mapping. So in the request mapping, empty request to BAPI company get detail, empty request to BAPI company get detail. The response mapping, BAPI company get detail will have its own response internally. So BAPI company get detail dot response to actual response. BAPI company get detail dot response to actual response. This is two-way communication. Empty request to BAPI company get detail, BAPI company get detail dot response to actual response. Okay. I think I sent you already this file ss.txt. You can have this. So require two mappings. mm underscore request, empty request to BAPI company get detail. See, normally you take in BAPI company get detail. Internally, the response is generated like this. Now we are taking BAPI company get detail. Then map this company ID to company ID. The function import parameters company ID. That is the reason we are taking request company ID. Then we are mapping this company to company ID. Empty request to BAPI company get detail. This is request mapping. Then response mapping. BAPI company get detail dot response to actual response. BAPI company get detail dot response to actual response. Then name, street, city, country, company detail to empty response. Then operation mapping. source operation, interface of sender my underscore http sync 9, then target operation, WAP company get detail, source operation to target operation, WAP company get detail, then read operations. In this you find request and response. In request mapping, in response you need to give response mapping. In the request mapping, in the response mapping. Okay, that means empty request to BAPI company get detail, and BAPI company get detail dot response to actual response, and then save. This is operational mapping. Then go to change list, activate. Environment clearance later, guys. Scenarios create. Now we need to create a business service with that is nothing but business component in 7.1 onwards. So we need to create a business component for a sender HTTP. So I click on business component, new. I'll give the name of the business component, say bs underscore http 9. Click on create. So it is sender side now. So select this business component in center side. Then outbound interface, you need to give the interface of the sender what we created. That is ma underscore http sync 9 something. This one, ma underscore http sync 9, and then save. Then for receiver SAP, so to get the receiver, go to object view, select from the existing business systems, SAP PRD, add to SN configuration scenario or scenarios, HTTP 9. So come back to this is a business component we created for HTTP by giving interface. And this is business system for receiver RFC SAP PRD. Now sender communication channel, sender agreement not required. Why? Because sender side HTTP. For HTTP there is a software available, HTTP client software available here. Oh, HTTP is where it is. Oh my god. This is actually HTTP client for SAP process integration. The client adapter actually means what we give in the adapter you find header and payload, no? So this will be the header and this is the payload. So directly you are going to send it from this software itself. That's the reason we don't require adapter for sender. When adapter not required, communication channel is not required. When communication channel is not required, then agreement also not required. So that is the reason sender communication channel, sender agreement not required when HTTP is sending the request from HTTP. Why? Because we use this software, okay, to test the scenario. So I'll be creating communication channel for receiver. So receiver communication channel. So that I'll take a RFC adapter type. I'll take RFC a receiver. So when we take RFC, when we take RFC adapter, we need to give all the details. Application server, nothing but our ECC, SAP server, or you can, if you know the IP address, you can give the IP also. System number is 51, right? 51. User, my username, password, repeat the password, then language, client. These are all details you need to give in RFC adapter, and then save. Receive determination, Sender interface. Sender communication channel. Sorry. Sender side system receivers communication component. Nothing but SAP PRD. So receiver determination. Then interface determination. So receiver side interface. Operation mapping. When you give operation mapping, automatically you get the interface of receiver also. Interface of receiver is BAP company get detail that we got here. And sender agreement not required. Receiver agreement. Don't try to type. Okay. Interface. BAP company get detail. CC underscore RS underscore HTTP 9 and then save. Then go to 6A cache. cc underscore rfc underscore http 9 is a communication channel created receiver side is working fine. Sender side don't have any communication channel. Now test the scenario how to send the data. So to test this scenario, go to message mapping, request mapping. In the message mapping you find request mapping. This request mapping, go to test tab. So here company ID I'll be giving 12345 501. I'm giving 501. Then start transformation. Source text view. You get the code. Copy this. Open this software. HTTP client adapter. This is there on the desktop. So here you give the server. Give IP address or host name of PA server. Okay, it's info. Then sender services BS underscore HTTP 9. Then port is 57,000. Client is 001. Sender interface. HTTP sync name. MI underscore, sorry. MI underscore HTTP sync 9. Then sender namespace. Quality of service best effort for a synchronous communication best effort. Username and password. I'll give my username and password. Then give the payload, whatever the payload you copied there, just paste it here, or you can save it somewhere in browser and select that file also. Once I submit this, see what happens. Once I submit this is a request I'm sending. The response I'm getting here itself. So name, state, city, country. See, I'm getting the response here. I'm sending the company ID, getting the response back. This is name, this is street, this is city, and then this is country. This is a request and then response. This is HTTP to RFC. And this software available on the desktop, you can use it. Otherwise, I put this in a sender folder. From there, you can copy and put in a desktop, and you can use it. The same way, we'll see SOAP to RFC. There actually will have sender side SOAP. So same similar scenario up to repository same. Only the directory find some difference. But we'll be sending a web service document. We use web service document WSDL.wsdl that we use in the tomorrow session, that is SOAP to RFC.